K L O H H H O T O Z V D K S P P S U V J H D. At the outset, Judge Jarriquez noticed that the lines of the document were not divided either into words or phrases, and that there was a complete absence of punctuation. This fact could but render the reading of the document more difficult. "Let us see, however," he said, "if there is not some assemblage of letters which appears to form a word, I mean a pronounceable word, whose number of consonants is in proportion to its vowels, and at the beginning I see the word phy, further on the word gas, halloo, ujugi. Does that mean the African town on the banks of Tanganyika? What has that got to do with all this? Further on here is the word ypo. Is it Greek then? Close by here is rym and puy and jox and phetoz and jyggay and mv and qruz, and before that we have got red and let. That is good. Those are two English words. Then ohesyk, then rym once more, and then the word oto." Judge Jarriquez let the paper drop and thought for a few minutes. "All the words I see in this thing seem queer," he said. "In fact, there is nothing to give a clue to their origin. Some look like Greek, some like Dutch, some have an English twist, and some look like nothing at all, to say nothing of these series of consonants which are not wanted in any human pronunciation. Most assuredly it will not be very easy to find the key to this cryptogram." The magistrate's fingers commenced to beat a tattoo on his desk, a kind of reveille to arouse his dormant faculties. "Let us see," he said, "how many letters there are in the paragraph." He counted them, pen in hand. 276, he said. "Well, now let us try what proportion these different letters bear to each other." This occupied him for some time. The judge took up the document, and with his pen in hand he noted each letter in alphabetical order. In a quarter of an hour he had obtained the following table: A 3 times, B 4, C 3, D 16, E 9, F 10, G 13, H 23, I 4, J 8, K 9, L 9, M 9, N 9, O 12, P 16, Q 16, R 12, S 10, T 8, U 17, V 13, X 12, Y 19, Z 12. Total 276 times. "Ah! Ah!" he exclaimed. "One thing strikes me at once, and that is that in this paragraph all the letters of the alphabet are not used. That is very strange. If we take up a book and open it by chance, it will be very seldom that we shall hit upon 276 letters without all the signs of the alphabet figuring among them. After all, it may be chance." And then he passed to a different train of thought. "One important point is to see if the vowels and consonants are in their normal proportion." And so he seized his pen, counted up the vowels, and obtained the following result: A 3 times, E 9, I 4, O 12, U 17, Y 19. Total 276 times. And thus there are in this paragraph, after we have done our subtraction, 64 vowels and 212 consonants. Good! That is the normal proportion. That is about a fifth, as in the alphabet, where there are 6 vowels among 26 letters. It is possible, therefore, that the document is written in the language of our country, and that the only signification of each letter is changed. if it has been modified in the regular order, and a B is always represented by an L, an O by a V, a G by a K, a U by an R, etc., I will give up my judgeship if I do not read it. What can I do better than follow the method of that great analytical genius, Edgar Allan Poe? Judge Jarriquez herein alluded to a story by the great American romancer, which is a masterpiece. Who has not read The Gold Bug? In this novel a cryptogram composed of ciphers, letters, algebraic signs, asterisks, full stops, and commas is submitted to a truly mathematical analysis, and is deciphered under extraordinary conditions, which the admirers of that strange genius can never forget. On the reading of the American document depended only a treasure, while on that of this depended a man's life. Its solution was consequently all the more interesting. The magistrate, who had often read and reread his Gold Bug, was perfectly acquainted with the steps in the analysis so minutely described by Edgar Poe, and he resolved to proceed in the same way on this occasion. In doing so he was certain, as he had said, that if the value or signification of each letter remained constant, he would sooner or later arrive at the solution of the document. "What did Edgar Poe do?" he repeated. "First of all he began by finding out the sign. Here there are only letters. Let us say the letter which was reproduced the oftenest. I see that that is H, for it is met with 23 times. This enormous proportion shows, to begin with, that H does not stand for H, but on the contrary it represents the letter which recurs most frequently in our language, for I suppose the document is written in Portuguese. In English or French it would certainly be E. In Italian it would be I or A. In Portuguese it will be A or O. Now let us say that it signifies A or O." After this was done, the judge found out the letter which recurred most frequently after H, and so on, and he formed the following table: H 23 times, Y 19, U 17, D P Q 16, G V 13, O R X Z 12, F S 10, E K L M N 9, J T 8, B I 4, A C 3. "Now the letter A only occurs thrice," exclaimed the judge, "and it ought to occur the oftenest. Ah, that clearly proves that the meaning has been changed. And now, after A or O, what are the letters which figure oftenest in our language? Let us see." And Judge Jarriquez, with truly remarkable sagacity, which denoted a very observant mind, started on this new quest. In this he was only imitating the American romancer, who, great analyst as he was, had by simple induction been able to construct an alphabet corresponding to the signs of the cryptogram, and by means of it to eventually read the pirate's parchment note with ease. The magistrate set to work in the same way, and we may affirm that he was no whit inferior to his illustrious master. Thanks to his previous work at logogryphs and squares, rectangular arrangements, and other enigmas which depend only on an arbitrary disposition of the letters, he was already pretty strong in such mental pastimes. On this occasion he sought to establish the order in which the letters were reproduced, vowels first, consonants afterwards. 3 hours had elapsed since he began. He had before his eyes an alphabet which, if his procedure were right, would give him the right meaning of letters in the document. He had only to successively apply the letters of his alphabet to those of his paragraph. But before making this application some slight emotion seized upon the judge. He fully experienced the intellectual gratification, much greater perhaps would be thought of the man who after hours of obstinate endeavor saw the impatiently sought for sense of the logogryph coming into view. "Now let us try," he said, "and I shall be very much surprised if I have not got the solution of the enigma." Judge Jarriquez took off his spectacles and wiped the glasses. Then he put them back again and bent over the table. His special alphabet was in one hand, The cryptogram in